Hey folks, what's up? It's CS back here with another installment, and here are my picks for UFC 141 Lesnar versus Overeem. Alright guys, so what do you think of this card? All in all, I think it's very good, top to bottom. Of course, the top has that crazy main event between Brock Lesnar and Alistair Overeem. Can't exactly complain there. A lot of people want to see this bout. Definitely a very, contrasting stylistic matchup. I'll get to that soon. Of course, my preliminary card picks are in the description below, so go check those out if you want. But yeah, let's start things off by taking a look at the first bout of the main card. This one's between featherweights Phan and Jim Hedis. Alrighty, folks. First off, I have to ask, why is this bout on the main card over, say, Manny Gambieri and Diego Nunes? Because Phan and Jim Hedis aren't even top 15. Gambieri and Nunes are. And I think Gambieri and Nunes will be a more exciting bout, so why is that stuck on the undercard? I don't know. Maybe it's because Phan and Jim Hedis are both American. Maybe it's because of Phan's status on The Ultimate Fighter. But then again, Gambieri was on The Ultimate Fighter as well, and he did better than Phan, so I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, whatever. It should be an easy fight for Phan, I think. Jim Hedis can really only threaten with his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Can he even get it there? Phan's defensive wrestling is, better now, I think. And he should be able to use that to keep it standing and be the better striker, which he definitely is. He has solid technical striking, solid kicks, solid punches, combinations. And yeah, he should be able to dictate the pace of the fight over the course of 3 rounds with it. I think it's just going to be the story of Jim Hedis, getting punched in the face and not getting it to the ground. So yeah, I think Phan's going to do just fine this bout. He should pick up a unanimous decision. I'm going to say 30-27 Phan. Alrighty, folks, now let's move on to that light heavyweight bout between Vladimir Matyushenko and Alexander Gustafsson. On paper, an easy fight for Gustafsson. He has the ability to keep the fight on his feet and, yeah, just outbox and kickbox his opponent to death, which is what's going to happen here because this is going to be the story of Vladimir Matyushenko, using his improved stand-up to try to set up a takedown, ultimately failing and ultimately getting knocked out in round 1. That's what I think is going to happen. Vladimir Matyushenko, he's a strong wrestler and he has heavy hands, but, he's not going to want to test out the waters with his heavy hands, and he might be forced to after he realizes he can't get the fight to the ground, and then Gustafsson's ultimately going to knock him out in round 1. He has heavy hands, Gustafsson, solid kickboxing skills, pretty good technically, and it's just a matter of time before he knocks Vladimir Matyushenko out after Matyushenko realizes he can't take him down. So that's my pick, Alistair Gustafsson. I think he wins first round TKO punches. Alrighty, folks, now let's move on to that welterweight match between 2 Division 1 wrestlers in John Fitch and Johnny Hendricks. On paper, it looks like an easy bout for John Fitch, and I think it will be. Johnny Hendricks is nothing he hasn't seen before. John Fitch, I think, is the better wrestler. He might be good an athlete. He might have better stand-up in terms of technical stand-up, but I think that Johnny Hendricks does have heavier hands. I really don't see how that threatens John Fitch. John Fitch has fought heavy hitters in the past, and I think this is going to be a story of John Fitch trying to get this to the ground, and Johnny Hendricks trying to keep it standing up and using a stand-up, and John Fitch pretty much takes down anyone who isn't, George St. Pierre in that division, so I gotta go with John Fitch here, and I think he's going to take Johnny Hendricks down in some place he doesn't want to be because, I think Johnny Hendricks will look like the classic example of a wrestler who doesn't want to be on his back, and John Fitch is going to use solid ground and pound and top control to win out a unanimous decision. And yeah, Hendricks should look like a fish out of water on his back. So yeah, that's why I'm picking John Fitch via 30-26 unanimous decision. Alrighty, folks, now let's move on to that Donald Cerrone, Nate Diaz lightweight bout. Now, I said this about the KZ Mark Hominick fight, that it's going to get at least 1 fight bonus. It should, because both these guys, like KZ and Mark Hominick, have, solid ground skills. They can definitely finish there. And on the feet, they can definitely finish there as well. And they're pretty exciting, no matter where it goes. So, yeah, I think we're going to see a really exciting bout between 2 very solid lightweights. Of course, Donald Cerrone, the king of fight bonuses lately. He's had a hell of a 2011. He's gone 4-0 with 3 different fight bonuses. So I've got to give it up to him. And, of course, Nate Diaz, when he made his return to lightweight against Takanori Gomi, he looked pretty scary there. And, yeah, he's pretty much usually going to outstrike or outgrapple anyone that's not a top position wrestler, you know what I'm saying? So on paper, Donald Cerrone is someone that Nate Diaz would want to fight, but I'm actually going to go with Cerrone on this one. I think he's the more vicious striker. His Muay Thai is, one of the best in lightweight for sure. He has solid leg kicks, solid kicks in general. pretty good combinations. You know, he uses angles, and he's going to use constant movement. I think that's going to frustrate Nate Diaz, and I think Nate Diaz can really only win this fight on the feet, say if Donald Cerrone just stays like a mobile target and tries to outbox him in the pocket like that. Nate Diaz is going to want to do that because I think his sheer volume of punches would overwhelm Donald Cerrone in that situation. But I think Donald Cerrone is just going to pick him apart from all angles to win a unanimous decision here. You know, if it does hit the ground, I actually give Nate the edge. You know, he is a crappier version of Nick Diaz everywhere, essentially, but his jiu-jitsu I still think is good enough to put away Donald Cerrone. And Donald Cerrone is not a slouch of jiu-jitsu himself. He has pretty good subs everywhere as well, but I think Nate's just technically better there. But again, I think it's going to be primarily stand-up, where the better stand-up fighter wins out, and I think that's Donald Cerrone. So I'm going to say 29-28 unanimous decision for Donald Cerrone. All right, folks, let's move on to the heavyweight main event between Brock Lesnar and Alistair Overeem. On paper, it looks like one of the most anticipated bouts of all time. You have Alistair Overeem, one of the most decorated fighters out there that we've been waiting to see in the UFC for a while now. And his debut is going to be against someone in Brock Lesnar, you know, MMA's biggest draw ever. So, yeah, on paper, this is huge. Really can't wait for it. Definitely clash between, you know, two way different fighters. You got Alistair Overeem, the striker, and you have Brock Lesnar, the wrestler. Brock Lesnar is able to out-wrestle Alistair Overeem. He's gonna pick however way he wants to win this, via TKO, via, you know, submission, or maybe a decision. Who knows? Because Alistair Overeem's not too hot off his back, and Brock Lesnar is a scary dude on top. And yeah, if that happens, I think it's gonna be a short night for Alistair Overeem, but it's also gonna be a short night for Brock Lesnar if he can't even get to the ground, because Alistair Overeem's a K1 World Grand Prix champion. The guy's a scary striker, and Brock Lesnar doesn't like getting hit, as we've seen in his last bout against Cain Velasquez. That was pretty ugly. If Cain Velasquez was able to tattoo him that easily, you know, it's only a matter of time before Alistair Overeem is able to do so if, you know, Brock doesn't get to the ground. So, yeah, it could be a short night for Brock that way. But, again, you know, there's other questions that we need answered about Overeem as well. You know, is he going to be able to handle the, you know, added pressure of being a UFC fighter now in a main event and shit against Brock Lesnar? And is he, you know, is he improved in terms of his wrestling? You know, he looked horrible in trying to stuff takedowns against a jiu-jitsu guy in that Fabrizio Verdum rematch, and he gassed out doing so. You know, futile takedown attempts from Fabrizio Verdum. I thought he would be able to shake off with ease, and, you know, he looked ugly doing so. So that was not a good look. And if Brock Lesnar comes in there with a wrestler-first mindset against that kind of Overeem, he should be able to stuff. You know, he shouldn't be able to stuff those takedowns Overeem, and Brock Lesnar should cruise to a victory. But I think Alistair, you know, with him working Extreme Couture, I think he's obviously improved, you know, in his wrestling since then. But now he's facing a way better get to the ground fighter in Brock Lesnar. It's just a matter of, is Brock Lesnar going to try to do so? You know, I think he will, but I think he's going to do so in the wrong way. And I think that he's going to try to time a takedown instead of just going for one. And I think he should just go for one like a Chael Sonnen does to people, and just straight up just run across the cage, get it to the ground, and that's it. You know, I don't think timing a takedown is a good idea, because, you know, Alistair can catch you with a knee, or he can time a sprawl and he can wind up on top of you. So, you know, I think that's what Brock Lesnar is going to do, and that's time a takedown, unfortunately for him, because, you know, he is afraid of getting hit, and if he runs across the cage and Alistair is able to tag him, then yeah, it could be a short night, and I'm sure that's in the back of his head, and maybe he thinks that timing a takedown is what's best for him, and I think that's what he's going to do, and because of that, I think Alistair is going to catch him with an uber knee. And I think Alistair finishes them up with punches to finish for a TKO victory in the first round. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to look relatively slow up until it does. And then, yeah, as soon as Brock explodes for that takedown, I think Alistair is going to catch him with that knee and finish him. So that's my pick. Alistair Overeem via knee and punches, first round TKO. Alrighty, folks. Well, that about does it for my UFC 141 Lesnar versus Overeem picks. I hope you guys enjoyed them. Again, check out my links and the preliminary card picks I have in the description below. I would deeply appreciate that, and just leave me a comment on whatever your thoughts are regarding UFC 141. So yeah, please and thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the support once again. You guys rock. Have yourself a happy holidays to all my Christians. Merry Christmas. Yeah, that about does it. So again, deuces to all my supporters, bruises for all my haters. Thank you so much once more, and take care.